What's up, metal and heavy music fans? These are my top picks for the best metalcore albums of 2021.
I gave you nothing! You want more! You get more!
So it's been another great year for metalcore, so much so that I actually want to start off with an honorable mention in Leave with Dead Language.
That was the beginning of the end.
This New York band lists influences from the likes of Glassjaw and early Norma Jean, but if you ask me, it's more of a cross between Loathe and Meth in how it fuses the more aggressive elements with its thick atmosphere, with shimmering guitars drawing further comparisons in musicianship to bands like Deafheaven or even at times The Cure. At just under 30 minutes, it's a brisk but deeply rewarding listen. But starting in with number 10, we have Capra with In Transmission via Metal Blade Records and Blacklight Media. If you want pure passion, Capra has got you covered. This Louisiana band packages some truly heart-rending lyrics and performances into a catchy, hook-heavy fusion of Every Time I Die, Minor Threat, and Plasmatics, with the lead guitarist and vocalist's self-proclaimed influences to be Jordan Buckley and Henry Rollins, respectively. You know you're in for a good time.
We're down in a hole! We're at the liberty of those in control! There's nowhere to run!
Tracks run the gamut from high-energy ragers to more soulful melodic material, but always with Crow's thoughtful, soul-bearing introspection. Listen to this album and then check out the interview with Crow and Tyler on the channel. Next up, we have Vexed with Culling Culture via Napalm Records.
All I say is, we're so accustomed to the fight our fears killing us. There's evil right before your eyes, but you're
Continuing the theme of raw vocals from strong frontwomen, Culling Culture is an absolutely devastating album on all fronts. Musically, there are a broad array of dynamics on display, with some of these tracks bordering on deathcore, with Megan delivering rapid-fire growls almost on par with Archspire, and others letting loose with highly impassioned clean singing alongside some soaring melodic guitars. In a year where so many are raving about Ginger and Spirit Box, both also dropping solid albums, don't get me wrong, I feel like Vexed would be right at home in that fanbase, and I look forward to hearing them grow and mature from here. Then there's Frontier with Oxidized. This Scottish band is already well established and respected in the underground community, with previous albums Orange Mathematics and Unloved. And now they continue their reign of genty destruction and laser beam noises on Oxidized, a record so dense and overwhelming to the senses that it puts me in a weird hypnotic trance. Not to mention tracks like Southern Hemorrhage are like the drop to the most nightmarish rave you've ever attended. Admittedly, engaging in this level of chaos for almost an hour will be a bit much for some, but I promise that repeat listens will be rewarded as you uncover more and more moments to love every single song.
The most vicious sonic beating I've received in 2021.
Then we have Employed to Serve with Conquering via Spinefarm Records.
I'll take it for what it is.
I loved 2019's Eternal Forward Motion, so this was an album I was seriously looking forward to. And fortunately, Employed to Serve delivered with this follow-up in every possible way. It's got the same punch I loved about its predecessor, but with plenty of new surprises as well, and perhaps most importantly, the dual attack of Justine and Sammy never fails to get the adrenaline running. Definitely some of my favorite gym cuts of the year on this one, but also lyrics that cut to the bone presented in a number of styles. Employed to Serve possess the same bone-breaking intensity of the likes of Code Orange and Knocked Loose, but with their own signature spin on the style. Speaking of which, we have Knocked Loose with A Tear in the Fabric of Life via Pure Noise Records. Holy shit. If Frontier was intense, I don't even know what to call this. I was already floored with the sheer heaviness of A Different Shade of Blue, but this EP takes that punishment to an entirely different plane. We're talking bone-breaking stuff here.
I
My personal favorites here are God Knows and Forced to Say, but at 22 minutes, I implore you to queue up the accompanying stop-motion video, sit back, and take it all in as a complete work. Dipping further into the underground as we do here, we've got Fall 50 Feet with Twisted World Perspective. This album is all over the place stylistically, with opening track The Gloom lulling us in with hypnotic Baroness vibes before the rug gets pulled out from under you with intense screams and dizzyingly technical riffs. Shortcuts to Hell alternates absolutely punishing metallic hardcore with more melodic moments, while other tracks like Situational Thriller take things even a step further by detouring into soothing, shimmering math rock a la Minus the Bear. Cult Leader, Hopesfall, and The Fall of Troy are other fair points of comparison, but it really just depends on what part of the album you happen to be listening to. Whatever you want to call it, this is a stunning and highly dynamic piece of work that would be criminal to miss out on. And then we have the rising star of SeeYouSpaceCowboy with The Romance of Affliction via Pure Noise Records. This album is basically a time capsule of everything I was listening to back in high school. SeeYouSpaceCowboy truly excel at fusing together all of the best elements of early 2000s metalcore, mathcore, screamo, and post-hardcore, as well as pop-punky clean singing reminiscent of Under Oath's They're Only Chasing Safety. It's a chaotic collage of panic chords, breakdowns, soaring, sparkling choruses, and a broad spectrum of vocal styles. I absolutely adore this album for how accurately it captures all of the same feelings that the classics did for me back then without ever feeling like a simple knockoff. And I'll say it again, easily one of the most exciting new bands in the genre right now.
Number 15.
But now moving up into the real heavy hitters, we have Zao with The Crimson Corridor via Observed Observer Recordings. Despite having albums that go all the way back to 1995, Zao continue to drop some of the best albums of their career. I was already floored by the Well-Intentioned Virus comeback in 2016, but in terms of scope and ambition, The Crimson Corridor blows that album out of the water, delving into downright doom territory in its darkness in addition to the usual raw and technical flair of its prior records. It's always exciting to see a foundational band in the genre still innovating to the present day, and honestly, just a metalcore album in general that sounds markedly different than anything else out this year. Be prepared to explore some truly dark corners of your psyche with this one.
Blacker than the blackest black, times infinity.
Speaking of darkness, we have Every Time I Die with Radical via Epitaph Records.
But if it gets too close, I gotta kill it all. I'm gonna need your help. My annihilation.
This is easily the most distressing Every Time I Die record I've ever heard. Musically, it still largely falls in line with the high energy of even their best material. It's just that the lyrical concepts here deeply reflect all of the amplified fears, uncertainty, and rage of the past few years.
The space between us is like a crime scene. No blood, no fingerprints. No blood, no fingerprints.
And in addition to being packed with the usual straight-up bangers like Dark Distance, Post-Boredom, and AWOL, there's also further stretching of the boundaries with the likes of People Versus and especially Thing with Feathers featuring Andy Hull of Manchester Orchestra. Quite frankly, this may be one of the band's best albums in an already highly consistent discography. See where I ranked it in my tier list. But then back into the underground for our final cut, we have Mouthbreather with I'm Sorry, Mr. Salesman.
To myself, alone, left to die, getting old, running to a fucking lie.
What else do I really need to say about this album besides absolute banger? If you just want a super consistent rager of an album, look no further than this one. Tracks like Wasted Life and Wasted Science totally destroy with punishing riffs and panic chords, and Cotton Shot is poised to burn down every venue it gets played at. With both violence and a dark sense of humor on display, this is the most fun you can have in 24 minutes this year, if you ask me. But let me know, what is your favorite metalcore album of 2021? Check out this playlist for plenty more metalcore related videos, and stick around for my other best of 2021 videos. But that'll do it for now. Flight of Icarus signing off. I will see you in the trenches.